Hi, everybody. Greetings from India. This is Ramesh BNair, and I'm thrilled to be on the Online Prosperity Show. A big thank you to Prosper for giving me this wonderful opportunity. And I'm looking forward to a more engaging and insightful conversation with our ever enthusiastic Prosper.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Online Prosperity Show. I'm your host, Prosper Taruvinga, and today we've got a guest whose journey is as inspiring as it is transformative. Now, Ramesh, how are you doing today?
Hi, Prosper. I'm doing great. How about you?
I am doing mighty fine. I'm really excited about what we're gonna explore today, and the fact that you literally have come to Melbourne and you've been to Australia. So I think there's gonna be a lot of synergies in the conversation that we're gonna have today. So hence the excitement. And for those that are watching right now, I want you to imagine dedicating over 30 years to the corporate world and then mastering the art of IT and large scale program management, only to then pivot in your mid 50s into a new career path that you never thought was possible. I know it sounds a little bit daunting, but that's exactly what our guest, Ramesh BNair, did. All right. After a personal health journey and also witnessing the struggles of others during the COVID-19 pandemic, Ramesh actually transitioned from being an IT professional to a full-time leadership coach. Now, through his company Mindspring, he empowers leaders across the globe to unlock their full potential. And in this episode, we're going to be diving into Ramesh's past experiences, his current work, and the unique methods that he employs and the approach that he uses to help his clients, and why his approach could actually be the key to your own personal and professional growth. So buckle up and stay with us as we explore the remarkable journey of Ramesh. Now, Ramesh, I could go on and on. I've already, stamped your passport in Australia. Now, let's just keep going with the ride. You spent over 3 decades in the IT sector. Tell us a little bit about what it is that you were doing and what did your job involve?
Sure. Thanks a lot, Prosper. Thanks for inviting me to the show. And I'm also looking forward to an engaging and insightful conversation. So, from my journey perspective, I'm basically a computer engineer by profession. And I started my career in Mumbai, India. And for the last 30 years, I lived for about close to 10 years in US over two stints. I have traveled around 10 countries, more than 10 countries, lived in more than 10 countries, executing programs for large customers. I have worked with the large IT companies, and you will know that India is a hub for the IT services. And I have been part of the IT industry and have seen and grown with the IT industry over the last 30 years. And what I mean is that I have seen how technology changes. I have seen how transformation has happened in the IT companies, as well as on the technological front, as well as with the customers. And that is what has been the major factor for me to pivot from the technology to the people aspect of it. We all think that technology is the key, but technology is just an enabler. Who makes the technology work? It is the people who work the technology work, right? And fortunately for me, I have been in the development space right from my early days, where I worked with Unisys, then I worked with MIT, and then I worked with large outsourcing companies in India. I've always been on the development side of the solutions. I've been more into systems integration. I have done a lot of greenfield implementations, which means that you're doing the project for the first time for the organization, for the customer. A lot of unknowns are there. The product is new, people are new. We don't have the capabilities and the competencies, and it's very challenging. to deliver those projects. And it is during those transformational programs, which typically run for about 9 months to a year, I saw very closely how people behave, what makes people tick, what makes them off. And my passion has always been to build practices, technology practices, wherein some new technology will come in, I build the team, deliver the programs, and then go on to something else. And I have worked across various industries, be it retail, be it banking, be it manufacturing. So all this gave me a very wide view about what is happening. And there's one common factor in all of these things. It is the ability of the people to deliver the goods. And what is it? It is the intrinsic motivation which drives the people to deliver it. And that is where I found it very interesting and I started pivoting towards that aspect. In 2013, 2014, I had the opportunity to undergo the executive leadership program in INSOF, France. And at that time, I was exposed to the coaching as a profession. I have been doing coaching and mentoring for the last 17 odd years, but I had never been exposed to coaching as a profession. And that is where I was introduced to ICF. And I made a decision that I need to make a change in 2014. But as things, life will have it, I was again sent back to US in 2015. And then I had to spend my time in US with a large customer. So things did not work as I planned. And 2020, I came back to India for good, for personal reasons. And things took a very unexpected turn. And that is where I found time. And I thought that now is the time to fulfill my desire, to fulfill what I had planned in 2014. And that is where I embarked on the coaching journey. And we are all working from home. I got a lot of opportunities to interact with people. People reached out to me because I used to coach and mentor a lot of people earlier as well. So people knew me from that perspective, from that ecosystem. And then I said, this is the right time to do. And around 2022, I made my call and I switched over to professional coaching. And today, here I am. I'm an executive leadership coach. I coach global leaders from Australia to US and across various industries. I'm industry agnostic, and that's where I am, Prosper.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for taking us through that journey, because it really highlights, where you were and the person you've now become. But let's just go back a little bit, back to the time where, 30 years ago, technology was just maybe, starting to be experienced and it wasn't as advanced as it was right now. What was the motivation that got you started to get into the IT field? Was that like a childhood dream, or did you see people around you that were involved in IT that inspired you?
Right. So if you take back about if you go back 35 years into my life, at that time there were limited options in the market, right? So you had at least in India, you had that thing of being either a commerce graduate or a science graduate or an arts graduate. And once you become a science graduate, then you have the professions as engineering or being a doctor or something like that, right? So engineering was the natural choice for me because I am not a person who is interested in biology, or I'm not a person who's like to do that medical part of the things like that. So I naturally gravitated. That was natural progression for me to get into engineering, and it's all merit based. So I have been a fairly good student in my school days, college days. I got into computer science engineering, and that is how I pivoted to computers. Because back those days, there are hardly anybody who would tell us, well, this is a field that you should go for, and this is where you should be looking for. Because imagine all the advancements that have happened is post 2000 or 2005 sort of thing, right? Or back then in 1990s, there was hardly anybody. The only option that you had was to go to US to do a master's. But then I was not that inclined. I had certain responsibilities, family responsibilities. So I said, okay, fine, let me continue here. And I got into the good organizations at that point of time, which were in India, basically the Unisys, which is based out of Mumbai. And I started my career from there.
Absolutely. It's quite intriguing because, some people these days have career counseling, career guidance, or they have people that, sit down with them and say, maybe your career path should be like this. But obviously, like you say, you didn't have any of that, privilege. Now, when you were in the IT sector, you were managing large portfolios and obviously running complex programs. And most of the times you're doing it overseas in places like America, where technology and everything else was already at an advanced stage. What was your experience like when you would have had to travel from your home country to all these other places? And, what sort of impression did you have of the world?
Yeah. It's a very interesting thing, Prosper, because the first trip I undertook was in 1996, and I had to go to France. And ever since that, France has been my love. Anytime you ask me to go to France, I would be more than happy to go there, right? And imagine those days we did not have internet, right? We did not have technology, and I don't know French. And here is this guy who is about 26, 27 years old, speaks only English, lands there. Of course, I had some colleagues from my office who helped me, but they did not have any technology to refer to or take help from, take help to do the translation. So I used to carry a small pocket dictionary, English to French conversion, a translation dictionary. And when I go to the shop, I will say, this is what I want, and this is what you get. And to make matters worse, I am a vegetarian. And imagine those days flying into Europe and being a vegetarian, right? So I had to survive on fried rice. I used to visit the Chinese restaurants, and they were gracious enough, and they used to offer me, when I say vegetarian, they will be offering me a fried rice, and I survived on that. So those are my initial experiences, and that is where I saw the world differently. And I don't know if that was the reason, but I am a very avid traveler. I travel a lot. And that is why I said, like, I've traveled more than 10 plus countries, right? I love traveling, and that exposed me to a different sort of thing. I found that how people are very similar in nature. Only the difference is the physical aspects. But if you look at from their behavioral perspective, what goes on inside, we are all one.
Absolutely.
That's a common denominator. Then the second exposure was when I went to US in 1995, and I was there for about 5 years. And that was a magical experience because I saw people from close quarters. And what I saw there, I could imagine what would happen back in India, probably 10 years, 15 years down the line. And those are real transformational things for me. And that set in motion certain things within me, understanding the human beings, right? And like I said, we all have the same qualities: love, hate, jealousy, likes, dislikes, desires, right? Everything is the same. Only thing is that we have been born in different parts at different points of time. And that is what has given some people an edge, and some people are still trying to get over the edge, right? So that has given me a different perspective, and I love traveling. I learn different things about the different cultures, the food habits, their traditions, what motivates them, what drives them, how to be more careful or how to be cautious when you're interacting with people. We cannot interact the same way as we interact at home with that. We have to be cautious, we have to be careful, and we have to acknowledge their preferences because they are coming from a different ecosystem. They come from a different cultural background as well, right? So a lot of learnings have gone into that, and that is where we are. So post that, probably from 2000 onwards, I have always made it a point to visit two new places every year, either domestically or internationally, whichever, as the time permits, right? So except during the COVID lockdown period, that 2 or 3 years, we did not visit any place. But that's also an interesting case there because we were supposed to be in Iceland in March 2020, but I pulled it out at the last moment. We'll talk about it later.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that. The reason why I'm bringing this about is because so many people have never left the state that they were born in for them to actually then exercise empathy of accepting that other people are also other people. And that's the one thing that makes a lot of leadership candidates fail, because they don't have that access to understanding that other people can also
Absolutely.
speak a different language or eat differently from who they are. Now, in all this travel and the things that you were going, obviously you did learn a few things that you learned, but there was a pivotal moment when you then had to sit down with yourself during the COVID pandemic. Maybe you can walk us through that time frame, and then that
Sure.
will then explore what it is that you're working on and how you're helping people now.
Sure. So in 2020, I had visited India in February 2020. That was the usual thing because I was in the US at that point of time. And there was always this talk saying that, oh, it's a pandemic and things like that. Nobody was clear in the Feb 2020 timeframes. And we were planning to go to Iceland. We had almost planned our tickets and things like that. But I was a bit hesitant. I thought something is fishy here. Let us wait for some time. And we were supposed to be there in Iceland by March 25th of 2020. And I went back to US and I discussed with my wife, and I said, let us do one thing. Let us postpone this to September 2020. Because we have been traveling. So whenever we travel, we look at the things what we need to explore. And we wanted to explore the Northern Lights. And Northern Lights, you have to see that before that March 27th or after September 23rd, right? Or 2027, the equinox period, whatever the date is, 23rd or 27th. So I felt a bit fishy. And then I said, okay, let us postpone it to September. And there you go. On March 20th, the entire world gets into a lockdown and everything is shut down, right? Because of the COVID. All the flights are cancelled and we are stuck in US. And then there's a medical emergency back in India. My father-in-law was not well. And on April 14th, we get the news that he has been diagnosed with cancer and is in the final stage. And we are stuck in US. We don't have an option. And we tried a lot of things, reached out to Indian government and stuff like that, but nothing worked out. Fortunately for us, Indian government started the flights, the emergency flights to bring back the Indians from there. They were called the Vande Bharat flights. We struggled a lot. We reached out to different people because there were a few limited flights, a flight a week, that sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
And we got onto the flight somewhere on May 13th after a lot of help from various people. We approached the Indian embassy. Everybody is helpful. Everybody, that's fine. But then the capacity is limited, right? So that was a challenge. So anyway, we were in Chennai. We did not get a direct flight to Chennai. We come and land in Delhi, which is the northern part of India. And from there, we take another flight to Hyderabad. We are quarantined there for 14 days because anybody coming from outside the country had to be quarantined there. We have a situation at home where my father-in-law is not well and he's in a very bad state. At that point of time, the interstate movement is also locked down. Nobody can go from one state of the country to another state because people are just trying to protect themselves and they're trying to contain the spread of the virus. And at that point, we had to take passes from each of the states. So if I'm exiting a state, I need to get an exit pass from state A. And if I have to enter the state B, I need to get an entry pass into state B.
Yeah.
Now, exit is very easy. People are okay to give you the exit pass. The state government is ready to give you the exit pass, but nobody wants to give the entry pass. And that's the challenge that we faced. And it was all automated. You could not get hold of a pass. And then on one fine morning, we kept on trying. We could not do it because the 14th day of the quarantine was getting over. And we had to get out of the hotel because it was all done by the government, right? We had nowhere to go. And then I was trying desperately that day. We reached out to the secretariat in the state government. They said nothing can be done. And I kept on trying. And for some reason, on that particular day at around 12 o'clock, I get the pass for entry.
Oh,
into the state
wow.
of Tamil Nadu.
Wow.
Imagine we have been trying desperately, it does not happen at all.
Yeah.
Then the vehicle has to come from Tamil Nadu, from the other state to where we were in Hyderabad. That the driver comes there with the vehicle. He comes at 1 a.m. on that night, and then we start at 3 a.m. at night,
Traveling.
driving back from Hyderabad to Chennai. It's about close to more than 14 hours journey, and I have been driving in US. I have not driven in India for last 5 years because I was there in US. I told the driver, "Don't worry, you go to sleep. You have been driving all along. You go to sleep. I will drive." And then I took the vehicle and I drive. I started driving the vehicle and up till about 7 or 8 o'clock, so that at least he gets some sort of sleep. Then we change over. We take turns every 4 hours. Every 4 hours, we did that. Finally, we reach the Tamil Nadu border, the state border, and there again we have a challenge because they want to see all sorts of documents. They want to see the people, the reason. We have our passports ready, all of those things, and after a lot of discussions, the police finally let us in. And
Wow.
then we are entering the state, and we reach home. And then we have been with we spent some time with him, and then finally he passes on at July 19th or 20th of 2020.
Mhm.
Right? Good that we were there at that point of time with him. And as we are recovering from these episodes, my organization tells that COVID is slowing down, so the senior people have to come back to office. And I was working at that time with a company called Tata Consultancy Services (TCS). And being a senior leader, they said, "We will give all provisions, we'll give you all the help. We will send you the medical team to your home, and you do your annual checkup, and then you can report to office." I said, "Okay, fine." They come home, they do the medical test, everything is done fine, everything is clear. But then they'll say, "Go and meet the physician with the reports." So I consult the physician, and then the physician said, "Ramesh, you are just crossed 50. Have you done any scopy in your life?" I said, "No, nothing, not yet." "Why don't you do it?" I said, "Okay, fine." Nobody knows what it is. And then I go for scopy, and there you are. I am detected with some blood in my rectum, and they are diagnosed it to be a cancer stage 3. This happens in September 2020, out of nowhere, out of the blue, right? And then we have all these COVID protocols and all of those things. We go to the hospitals. The hospitals are hotspots for this. Nobody to help you. Absolutely nobody. Myself and my wife, we are on our own. And one thing led to other thing. Then I called up my cousin who's in a different state. My mother is in a different state, and now I need to get operated upon. I need to undergo the various treatment and things like that. So I called up my cousin and then said, "This is what it is." He said, "Don't worry, come out." And then we shift, two of us, we shift ourselves with the 2 small pieces of baggage to state of Kerala. We log into the hospital, and from there the journey starts. I undergo the chemotherapy for the first 10 weeks, followed by a 6 week of rest, and then again a review. Luckily, by then, the chemotherapy had helped, and I'm also doing radiation along with the chemotherapy. So it's a bit hard on the body. You have 2 things happening together, right?
Absolutely.
And we had a 6 weeks review stage wherein we need to allow that thing to work on the body, right? And by the time it was Jan end 2021, things were slightly better. But the doctor said, since it's already there in the body, you need to get operated upon. So on February 5th, the operation happens. The February 1st week, the operation happens. And that is the tricky part. Now, it is in that part of the body, it's in the rectum. And my father-in-law also had a similar problem. He also had the cancer in rectum. So I had seen his suffering. I had seen what are the options available. And I was very clear. I don't want to have any external attachments. I don't want to have a bag and things like that. Typically, that's the procedure that they do. They'll remove rectum and then they'll have a bag attached outside, right? So I was very clear I don't want that. And then we are supposed to get admitted for the operation at around 4 p.m. on Wednesday. And we are at 2 p.m. We are still discussing with the doctor as to what option we should explore. And then doctor said, these are the only two options. I said, okay, let us go with this option. You cut a part of that rectum. You're doing an experiment. I am willing to go with the experiment. Take that and do the testing, remove it, do the testing. If everything works fine, then you're good. But if there's something wrong with that, if there is a malignancy there in the test, then you'll have to remove the entire rectum. I said, okay, fine, let's try. I'm game. Let's do that. And who will take the call on this? I am sitting there. I had to take the call. And that is where I take the call and then we move ahead. Luckily, things turn out good. Things are good. And it turns out very non-malignant. After the treatment, everything is over. So I again go through a chemotherapy for another 2.5, 3 months. And it is during that time frame, right? Complete lockdown, nobody can come meet you. You are going to the hotspots. How do you spend the time? So I started reading a lot of books, philosophies. I went through the entire stuff. And that is where I saw that there are a lot of commonality across different philosophies, what we are talking about, human beings and suffering today. It's nothing new. It has been there ever since human existed. The life has not changed. Only your lifestyle has changed. People have been living their lives. That is when I recollected. And 20 years back, we did not have mobile phones, but we still had a life. Nothing has changed. Only lifestyle has changed. But today, people are not able to think about it. People are not able to understand about it. And that is where I found that, okay, this is a good time for me to pivot onto my new career. And then I started going through the various certification process, got certified as the ICF, the PCC. I got certified with the European Mentoring and Coaching Council. And then that's where the entire thing, that has been a game changer for me, because I found that a lot of people are there who don't know what is happening. They are overwhelmed. They do not have a direction. They do not know what to do. And then I was looking at myself. I have also gone through a similar journey, but today I have some information, I have some knowledge, I have some stuff today. Can I share it with others? What will make them move forward? Can I give them the nudge? Can I give them the push so that they can move from a state where they are to a state where they want to be? Ultimately, the choice rests with other individuals. So whatever I had accumulated, I had the knowledge, I have the information, I have my experiences. I wanted to share that experiences with others. 30, 35 years of experience. Like I said, there's nobody back 30 years back who could tell me, hey, Ramesh, you do this course, this is good. Or why don't you pursue this as a career? Nobody. There's nobody there. So can I share that information today? Today, I do a lot of sessions on career counseling because people do not believe in the concept of career growth. They do not want to plan their career. They expect the career growth to happen automatically. They expect the organizations to take care of the career. Organizations will never take care of your career. You have to take care of your career. You have to take care of your life.
Absolutely. Now
that's the missing puzzle.
Absolutely, and thank you so much for taking us through that journey. And I'm really intrigued. In the time that you were noticing, that people are actually suffering, you were also suffering in and of yourself, and that somebody would have just been like, you know what, let me just get well. But you decided, no, I want to help other people do and have a happier existence. Now, the people that were obviously going through that, they don't see it. They don't know that they're suffering because fish do not see the water that they swim in. So what is it that you actually notice that people are suffering?
Yeah. So the main thing is that people always are not ready to act. Okay. People remain stuck. And I don't know whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I've always been a bit curious. Curiosity has always been a part of my life. So even if you give me an electronic stuff, I would be more than happy to open it up and then assemble it again. I am that sort of thing because I want to know why that works, how it works, right? What is it that happens there? And I'll have to take you back to 2005. That is when my father also was a cancer patient, and he lived for 10 years, absolutely no issues. Touch wood, he had a natural death in 2015, and my mother-in-law also had a cancer at that time. So there are two people in the family having cancer between 2005 and 2007. She passed away in 2007, unfortunately. And that is where I started looking at what are the triggers and how do people behave. And now I have two different people, my father and my mother-in-law, whose behavior are different, right? And that is where I got sort of, I would say, addicted to neuroscience. I read some books by Deepak Chopra, and that is where it started giving me more insights as to how body behaves. What is it that brain is doing? What is your state of state of your mind? It's always it's not necessarily the medicines which work upon it. Of course, medicines do play a part of it, but it's more your confidence in the doctor. How confident, how optimist you are when you have a problem with you. Are you going to give up, or are you going to put your trust in the doctor? And I could see two different things coming up. And I have been a neuroscience student ever since that. Probably last 20 years, I've been a neuroscience student, and it's such an interesting, fascinating aspect of it.
Absolutely. I mean, you're examining the human brain, and
Absolutely.
since you love opening up gadgets, and I think the human brain is quite an interesting place for you to
Interesting.
open up. But I gotta ask now, because obviously engineering had been your IT had been your sort of vocation and your job and your career for all this time, and having to then transition from that role that you were doing to full-time coaching, it is a bold move in and of itself. I know you had to make a few decisions and a few sacrifices in order for that to become alive. What sort of fears or maybe uncertainties did you face during the
Absolutely.
transition, and how did you then overcome them?
Absolutely. So it was a big shift. And uh, to be frank, I am a bit of a mentally tough. I'm a bit mentally tough in that
Mm.
perspective because I've gone through various stages in life. And those are my experience, and I learned a lot from that. And one thing which I always believed was focus. All through my life, come what may, if I decide on something, I used to really focus on that and execute it. Execution has
Right.
always been my. I had a lot of challenges, both on the personal front, professional front, because even when all these things are happening, I have changed organizations. From 2005 to 2008, I changed organization. 2014, I changed organization. While there have been personal issues, I have been doing that. So I have been able to manage the things. So I was mentally confident that I could pull it off. The question was, how much time do I give? And what do I do if things don't work out? The usual self-doubt issues comes up, the usual fears of failure, judgment, what will your family tell, what will your relatives tell, and you have because I was having a very good job. There was no reason for me to quit that job. In fact, my son was telling me, "Why do you have to quit the job at this point of time? You are holding a senior position, and you can very well continue till you retire from that job." But there was an inner urge in me, which said that that job will keep me good for some time. What after retirement? What will I do after I retire?
Yeah, that was good thinking.
Okay. And I said, I'm not doing it just for the heck of it. I am following my passion. I am following my love. What drives me? So, of course, there are a lot of resistance within the family saying that, oh, don't quit your job, this, that, and all the more, right? You have undergone some medical issues, so people are a bit more apprehensive, and then they think, oh, no, 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 don't do this, don't stress yourself. A new job, a new role, you'll be under tremendous stress and things like that. But after some time, to be very frank, my wife and my son, they were supportive. They said, okay, fine, do what you want. Probably realize that this fellow is not going to change, so let him go the way he wants to, right?
That,
But then definitely there were periods of time. For example, you make a plan. The plan does not work. What do you do? But I never lost the focus. So neuroscience helped me. That was a big part of it. I have been following neuroscience, and then that helped me build a different scheme of things from a coaching perspective. So I incorporate neuroscience, adult development theories, mindfulness into my coaching practice. I bring all of these three flavors.
how does it help you understand human behavior, especially in the way that you're coaching people?
Absolutely. So if you start looking at the way your brain operates, right, the brain functions, right, it's very simple. It's the same thing. On an average, a human being gets 70,000 thoughts on an average.
That's a lot.
And 90% of that are repetitive every day. And that is a waste of time. And what does a human being do? The human being gets stuck in that same 90% thoughts day in, day out. And what are those thoughts? Those thoughts are what happened in the past, what is going to happen in the future, what about me, what about others. 4 dimensions. You spend 90%, you waste 90% of your time in life deciding only on the 4 things over which you do not have control, at least over 3 things which you don't have control. Past you can't change, future you cannot predict, others you can't plan or you can't predict. You're wasting 90% of your time on that. And then the fourth one about me, it is your ego. You are judging yourself. You are judging yourself. You are not ready to act on something. So that is a beauty. So when the coaching practice, when I try to give a glimpse of this to people, what I'm trying to do is I am seeding some thought. If I tell you, hey, Prosper, you are behaving like this because of these reasons, you may want to think about it and ponder. You may not agree to me at this point of time, but 3 months down the line, 6 months down the line, something may click. Oh, Ramesh told like this at some point. Makes sense. Let me explore it. Let me change. Let me see if I can do something. The change may trigger. And what I am telling is there on the internet. I'm not telling something out of the blue. It's well documented research that I'm putting in front of everybody. Anybody can go and Google and find for himself or herself. So if I'm able to connect your behavior to your way of thinking, it could trigger a change in you.
So is this why now you've shifted from giving advice to sharing ideas? Because if you can share an idea with someone, that would then become, oh, wait a minute, a behavioral or habitual change later on in the future.
Yeah. So I don't give an advice. My job is to show you a different perspective about your behavior. Which, if you want, you can make a choice to change. Choice is yours. For example, you're getting annoyed with somebody, but you don't know. How self-aware are you? And what is the reason? Can we explore that reason behind that behavior? It could be because you don't want to accept the person. You don't want to accept the reality. You may want to control somebody, and that person resistance to you. There could be any number of reasons. Nobody knows about it. So are you willing to explore? And I am becoming a thinking partner. So when you share your experiences, I tell probably this is the reason, these are the reasons. If you are willing to explore, if we are willing to open up, then you may be ready to change your behavior. How do you change your behavior? Take small baby steps at a time. One at a time. Develop new habits. When you start doing that small habitual changes, it has a compounding effect over a period of time.
And this is
a new behavior.
Absolutely. And this is what you teach at Mindspring, where you obviously you focus on leadership coaching, but these small baby steps is what you
Absolutely.
Then take. Yes. Okay. What are the usual problems that people present with, when they show up to your coaching practice?
Sure. Yeah. See, the coaching is basically performance driven and development driven. What you want to be in the future. We don't look at the past. Right? But you can look at your past and see what changes you need to do so that you can become a better person in the future. Right? So I use these different techniques. One is the neuroscience, one is the adult development theories, mindfulness, meditation, and things like that. So when I interact with various people, a lot of people come to me with the main issue that they're getting overwhelmed. They get stuck. They don't know what to do next. They are not able to control things the way they want to control things. Everybody wants to control things, but the fact of life is you cannot control anything. That's an illusion that you can control everything. It's an illusion that you can control everything. You can't control anything. People demand certainty. But nature is always uncertain. There's nothing certain in your life. But your way of thinking has made you demand certainty in life. Now, can you show them a different perspective? Can you get them in touch with reality? Like at the beginning of the call, you said, everything around you is artificial. You don't even get natural light.
No, not even, yeah.
Right? So we are not touching the reality. We do not want to accept things. We are attached to too many things. It could be people, it could be things, it could be positions. It could be anything. So the essence is basically to reflect upon them and see what is really needed for you, not what is wanted. Most of the times we run after wants.
Instead of what is needed.
What is needed?
That's interesting. Now, you've co-authored a book that was released in March of 2024, and you are working on one more, which means you're going to have to come back on the show again to present this new book. All right. Can you maybe share with us some insights in the March 2024 book and what can readers expect in this book?
Yeah. So from a coaching perspective, I look at transformation, how you can transform an individual, right? And transformation is not an easy thing. And that is where most of the transformational initiatives fail. Because I'll give you a simple thing, right? It's not about the information. You have the information, you have the knowledge. But how well do you embody those to become a better person? That is the critical part in transformation. Having information does not mean that you have a transformed person. You have become a better person. No. It's just like the classic example I always give is about the butterfly. You have the lava. Lava at some stage, it gets out of the shell cocoon, and then it transforms into butterfly. Now, once it has become a butterfly, no matter how badly it wants, it cannot become a larva again. It's a totally different form of the being.
Does it even remember that it was once a...
Absolutely. But look at human being. We claim ourselves to be transformed, but we always go back to what we were. So transformation does not really happen in human being. And that is where the greatest thing is. If you want to transform, you need to really let go of what you are today. You need to let go. It could be your position, it could be your desires, it could be your thoughts, it could be your beliefs. Beliefs are the most important thing which holds you back. So coming back to the book. So the book is all about transformation, leadership transformation. So what we have done is we have sharing the experiences of a leaf as it flows through the mighty Brahmaputra river. It starts from China, it goes through Tibet, it enters India. So we are narrating a story of the leaf as it traverses the mighty Brahmaputra. And there we bring in the concept of the growth mindset, how we need to move from a fixed mindset to growth mindset. So it's all about leadership transformation. So it's a very easy to read book. We are not complicated it. So we just wanted to give a form of a story where people can relate to, people can understand, and people can at least think, oh, is this what I need to? And there we bring in the concept of a surfer. Surfer, it stands for 6 traits. The sensitivity, S stands for sensitivity, understanding, reality, feelings, evolving, and resiliency. These are the 6 traits a leader should have. And the classic example here is that of a surfer on the ocean. The surfer on the ocean does not think about the past, does not think how the wave is going to come in the future. The surfer is focused only at that moment, how to navigate the wave at that instant of time.
I think there's a lot to grasp there, especially in the surfer acronym there. But you've learned all of this. Obviously, you did mention 20 years you've been a student of neuroscience, and it's all been sort of self-education, and you literally are a self-made person in this sort of realm without a mentor or a coach. How has this self-reliance influenced, your coaching method?
So, I think the primary driver has been the curiosity. Right. For me, I have a very broad horizon of topics where I engage myself in. I dabble in a lot of things, and that inquisitiveness, that curiosity, makes me learn new things at a time.
It also adds to the resilience, right? Because it seems like a recurring theme in your journey, because the more you learn, the more you know the information because the only reason why people fall and suffer is because of lack of information. If they knew how to get out of that situation, they wouldn't be in that situation. But how are you instilling this quality in the leaders that you now coach if they haven't experienced forms of resilience or situations that would have made them want to be resilient on their own?
Yeah, it's just a very, very good question, Prosper. So the fundamental thing here is that people are educated, but education is a lifelong journey. Just because you're educated does not mean you are current. You have been educated as of some point of time earlier.
So
conditions have changed, environment has changed, economy has changed, world has changed, but you are still sitting with that old piece of education.
So there's people that are fully qualified for a world that no longer exists. So you could be
Absolutely.
a qualified IT
Yes,
technician working in DOS.
absolutely. And that has been my challenge to people. Why don't you invest yourself in learning? What are you doing to upgrade yourself? The book that you have read now was written 5 years earlier or 3 years earlier. Is it relevant today? Probably may not. People invest in a lot of financial assets, people invest in a lot of real estate. But the funniest part is people don't invest in themselves. Money can go away, real estate can go away. But if you invest in yourself, that remains with you till the end of your life.
Now,
How many
now,
of us are willing to invest in ourselves is my question.
now, Ramesh, if you would notice this as we conclude this sort of episode, it's quite interesting the person and the character you've become, because we started off with you in the left hemisphere, you being an engineer, IT person, and everything else to do with that. Now you've come full circle and very, very right brain, in as much as you're using nature to, calibrate and help people transform and things of that nature. Doesn't your head hurt?
Absolutely no. And to your point, right? Somewhere there's a theory which says that you take a circle,
Yes.
right? You take a circle, and that is your book of knowledge currently. You draw a circle, that is your book of knowledge currently. So you have a boundary for your knowledge. And that's your circle, that circumference of the circle. Now you draw a small circle outside that big circle, which is you're reading a new subject or you're reading a new topic. Now, what happens is once you start exploring that, you find that there's still a lot of things more to explore because your boundary has increased. Now, if you start expanding that circle, you will find more to explore. And this expansion actually grounds you. That is when you understand the different perspectives. It is not your perspective. The problem is we are always looking from our perspective. We are always looking at the world from our perspective. But other perspectives exist, other realities exist.
That's the growth mindset now, the neuroplasticity that encourages us to.
Absolutely. So, are you willing to explore different perspectives? Different events happen. Events are always neutral, but how you react to those events matter. And how do you react to that event? It's based on your narrow vision,
knowledge of the event.
narrow book of knowledge. So
it reminds me, Ramesh, have you ever, you've been to America and everything else. Have you ever been skydiving? Or have you ever seen what happens
that
during
is
skydiving?
The pending thing on my that's there on the bucket list, and that is pending.
When you come to Australia, let's go together, right?
Sure.
All right. So with skydiving, every time the instructor is the one who's in the front, he's doing that 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 times a day, and he knows he's gonna go back home to his family and his wife. All right. But if you're doing it once in your life, because of that limited knowledge, you are so scared because you don't have the knowledge that this is safe and you can continuously do it over and over again. But yep. Is that the explanation that actually fits that?
Yeah. So it fits in there. So unless and until you expand your horizons, you're not going to have the growth. Absolutely. You can always be complacent. You can always be comfortable where you're sitting today, Prosper. Comfort is a beautiful thing. But if you are in the comfort zone, growth will never happen. And people want to be in the comfort zone. So what do we do?
You want me to go out in the cold, in the heat?
Choice is yours. Choice is yours. You have the option to make a choice, Prosper, in your lifetime. You can't make a choice before birth. You can't choose your parents. You can't choose what you want to do after death. So before and after, you cannot make a choice. You can make a choice when you leave. So make a right choice.
I think we
Take
made
it.
the I think we made the right choice to have you on the show today, Ramesh. And
Thank
it's
you.
super, super exciting. But you did hint on a new book that's coming, and I think
Yeah.
let's get excited about that so that when you come back next time, people already know what to expect. What are you writing?
So I started the second book, and the third one is also in the works. The second one is more about illusions in the corporate world. Right? So we all know. A simple thing is that we all know that we should not be. Or there's something which is not right happening in the corporate world, but we still do it
Mm,
because could be because of fear. It could be because of our value system. It could be because of anything. Are we ready to break out of that and experience the freedom that we want?
absolutely. Now,
The
if
different
people
patterns are there, right? In the corporate, like you might have heard about it, or you might have experienced as well.
Mm, absolutely. Now, Ramesh, if people are looking to connect with you and learn more about your methodologies and things of that nature, what would be the best way that people can reach out to you?
Yeah. So Prosper, I am there on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the best way to reach me. And I have my website, rameshbnair.com as well. So these are the two sites primarily where people can reach out to me. I am not there on social media because I consider social media to be a main source of distraction. Sorry about it.
I think you consider you're working in IT, you already know what goes on behind,
Absolutely.
sharing an
Absolutely.
algorithm.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a very interesting thing. Just give me a few seconds to complete. Most important point is we have to believe in ourselves. Right? Then that is what helps us achieve our goal. But if you look at the modern trend, people believe in others. And that is where the social media companies are thriving. People are believing that such and such person can do something on TikTok. They're very happy watching what Mike is doing. They
Mhm.
believe Mike, but do they believe themselves?
No.
99% of the people are doing that. And that is where I call it as a distraction because people are starting to lose their confidence after seeing others' performance or others' thing. You also have talent. Why don't you explore your talent? Why don't you explore your potential?
But Ramesh, I can't be in Bollywood. I can't speak like you. You know what I mean? I can't have all this expertise around, so I have to take it from other people too.
But you have your strength and you are playing to your strength. You're running a podcast. Look at the discipline that you have generated for yourself. More than 250 episodes. It's not joke. So you are creating a discipline. So what play to your strengths? Play to
Mm,
your strengths and create something for yourself. You will be able to do it.
absolutely. Now, Ramesh, I can't. We can't stop talking because
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Sure.
the people will start thinking, wait a minute, these two, are they brothers or what's going on? So thank you so much
Yeah.
for the time that we spent on the call today. But it would be remiss for me to not ask, what's next? I mean, you've told us you're writing a book and you've just pivoted, but what else can we be excited about in the future that you're working on?
So I'm not really thought about it because for me it is one step at a time. So
Absolutely.
right now I'm looking at how the various channels by which I can share more knowledge, and I thought book to be a good thing, and it also helps me build my legacy as well.
Yeah,
So I can leave that for others who can learn from that, right?
absolutely.
So next is definitely a couple of books is what I'm looking forward to, but I don't know. I had never planned to release a book, and that's a different story which we'll discuss in the next episode or probably later, right? So I'm just keeping it open, staying curious, and focusing on the most immediate thing for me.
Absolutely. Well, I can't thank you enough for at least passing by the Online Prosperity Show and leaving a bit of your legacy as you do that. I mean, your life story and your experience, and it's all just an insightful journey. I mean, the whole journey just really exemplifies the power of resilience, self reliance, and just the courage to pivot towards one's passion, no matter whatever stage you are in life, because so many people wait until it's a perfect time, and it can never be a perfect time. So thank you so much
Absolutely.
for
Sure.
spearheading that thought and being a thought leader in your own right in all these cases.
Thanks a lot, Prosper. Thanks for giving me this wonderful opportunity where I could share some of the insights with your audience as well. And wish you all the best, and hope to meet you soon again.
Fantastic. For those that are watching, thank you so much also for making it this far in the episode. But if today's discussion really resonated with you, I want you to consider how Ramesh's coaching services at Mindspring could actually support your personal and professional growth. I'll be putting in all those links so that you can get started on that journey with Ramesh himself. Because I want you to remember one thing: transformation actually begins with a single step, and perhaps today is the actual day to take that step. All right. So while you're at it, don't miss our next episode where we're going to be exploring ideas to cultivate a happier existence. And if you found value in today's conversation, please share this podcast with somebody who might benefit from it. And while you're at it, subscribe to the Online Prosperity Show so you won't miss out on any of these insightful conversations. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.